Welcome, Ozuola. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
I'm excited.
I'm just going to list off a couple of your achievements. So sit back and pat yourself on the back. So for all of our listeners, Ozuola Martins is one of London's most experienced image professionals. You've been doing this for 20 years. You've done styling for the BBC, ITV and Channel 4 presenters. Mm-hmm. You've styled members of the royal family. For editorial shoots, as well as personal shopping and event looks. You've curated celebrity special event looks for Derby Day, Ascot, the Elton John white tie and tiara ball and the red carpet. You've been styling music artists for press looks and performances, and ad campaigns for Browns and SPACENK. Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah, SPACENK.
And you've done editorial styling for Hello and Tatler magazine. Yeah. And you've also done some sort of like corporate consulting. I know you worked with the Hyatt on their creative direction for their staff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Amazing. So it's one of the reasons I wanted to chat with you is because in our first sort of conversation when we first met, and I got an understanding of your expertise and the experiences, some of them, once in a lifetime experiences for an image professional. But I was taken by how you also were, not as confident to go, do you know what? I've absolutely killed it. You were like, is it enough? Am I good enough? Tell us why. Tell us why.
Why? I think even now it's still, so you can reel off those things, and it's easier for somebody else to say it than for me to go through the things. But there's still a part of me that still goes, but is it enough, or should I have done more? And there were times when I used to think, it's a bit over here and a bit over there, but it's not just like only red carpet or only television or, so there are things that I think have, kind of have something to do with that as well. And I was thinking about when you kind of present your work and somebody says, you haven't really done enough, and how that stuck with me. So going to see a stylist agent and saying, this is what I've done. And I was really excited at the time, but they were like, don't really think you've done enough. And that, for some odd reason, stuck somewhere. Yes. That then started to make me think, okay, well, I need to do a bit more of this, and maybe it's not, Yeah. So, but then when I hear it, I'm like, well, no, there's quite a lot, but somewhere I need to unravel that and delete it.
And do you feel as a stylist or an image professional that perhaps you should have focused on one area and built up your expertise and clients in there? Or do you like the fact that you've got this varied exposure to all of the subsections within the styling industry?
See, that's the thing. I actually...
Oh, no, you've turned off.
I actually love the fact that... I've done a bit of this and a bit. I remember actually when I was at uni and someone said to me, I can't wait to, get a job as a designer in Marks and Spencer's or John Lewis and then work my way through the company for 40 years. And I thought that would just be like horrible. I love the fact that I can do something over here. And I think when I discovered freelance styling, that was like, because I can do a bit of something over here and something over there. So I think genuinely I love that about my career, about my journey, that I've done lots of bits of things, still all within styling. But I think having that conversation with someone saying to me, and I think at that time I wanted to go more into just editorial. And for them, it wasn't quite, enough of just editorial. But then I think I'd have got bored if it was just editorial. I like the fact, I love working with personal clients, and I love, seeing the difference that you actually make in their lives. And then if it's with a celebrity, it's that mix of the personal, but then the creative, like join, and that's my best place.
Because when you're working on those red carpet looks or those press events, there is a little bit more flexibility with the creative direction, right? As opposed to the personal styling clients, which you're starting to focus on this year.
Yeah. So there's more creativity, but there's also this nervous energy, which I love.
From you or the client?
I think for the client, they have this, because they obviously want to look good. They want to, for there to be good reviews of what they were wearing, etc. But for me, it's also because I'm waiting does this look work? And do they feel confident enough to carry it off? But at the same time, what will the review be when it comes back? It's that kind of excitement that I love. And I think I get that when I'm doing red carpet, because it's a mixture of making sure that they're comfortable, confident, but then I can be creative at the same time.
And you have, I know, this sort of incredible creative component of your brain. Then I wanted to share I wanted you to share that beautiful story of what you did when you were at school, the sort of club that you formed, which I think gives listeners an insight into the journey that you're on to help people that sort of on a more one-to-one, personal basis.
Yeah. So in my first year of secondary school, I met a girl. I went to a girls' school, and there was one particular girl who I just felt there was just a light in her, but I felt like no one recognized it. And I had this feeling that, she wasn't being oppressed, but somewhere in my head, I felt like she just wasn't being allowed to be who she was and to flourish. And I created a club called GCI, Girls Club for Independence. And it was just for her. And so we met at break times. And then that
Hold on, what does GCI stand for?
Girls Club for Independence.
Well, that makes sense as you've just said it.
Yeah.
I am so sharp. Okay, continue.
So, and then other people in the class wanted to join. And so my best friend was in a different class. And so I had to open it up so that my best friend could also join. But we did, the club went on till I left secondary school, and it was still going on for a few years. And we had a magazine, we had an agony aunts column, and it's just the way that we would do. So then at that time it was, writing everything by hand, and then photocopying it, but onto coloured paper. And, it was like, I don't know, 10p for an issue. And we made that issue come out every month. And then we would save money every time you came to the club. You'd put 2p or 5p or something in, and then we would have these like pizza and movie nights. But everybody had, so let's say like all my close friends, we all had something to do within GCI. So I was the president, someone was the treasurer. It was for her, that one person. And actually I'm just thinking about now, because I'm still friends with her on Facebook, and what she does now and how vibrant she is, I don't think she would have. And I'm not saying it's GCI. I'm just saying, looking at her now.
But I'm not saying it wasn't a pivotal part of her success.
Obviously it was.
Did you? I'm just imagining that she sort of walks into the school and you see her and you walk up and you go, "You've got talent. No one knows it yet. Allow me."
But I do.
Yeah, I do. Like it just is such a funny image. And did she at the time when you approached her and said, "Allow me to take you under your wing. I'm going to create a club for you so you can shine. All our money's on you. You better become a success."
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You look oppressed. Are you oppressed? I've got a club for it. Did she sort of say, "Yes, thank you, I've been looking for this," or,
No. I think, sorry, was I waiting to see whether that's what she wanted? No, so I think Yeah, I didn't. So I just created it. I said, there's a club, Girls Club for Independence. It's just me and you. And I'm just trying to think, there wasn't so much, she was just excited.
Yeah.
There wasn't conversation about, why are you just doing this for me? I can't remember any of that. It just became a fun thing that
Beautiful.
we did at break times. But I'm saying, when I look at her now, she's like a rainbow. That's she's just like full of life and vibrant. And I feel that I could see that then. I saw something, and that's that person that she is now. And then a few years ago, so probably 2019, a friend of mine who I've been friends with for years, but always felt there was a point when I felt like she just wasn't, I don't know, there was more going on, and she wasn't expressing a particular side of her.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very entrepreneurial, but that kind of side had just kind of died down to like nothingness. Mm-hmm. And then we had this conversation. She said she really wants to, now that her son was a bit older, she really wanted to do something, but she had no idea of what to do. Mm-hmm. And so I was trying to like kind of remind her of all the things she said she wanted to do before, all the things she used to do. And she's like, no, but she couldn't, it's almost like, well, I couldn't, who am I to? I couldn't do that. And then I thought, well, I'll create something called Inspo Hub. And that would be myself and some other friends who we were all kind of entrepreneurs working for ourselves, little businesses. And I just felt if she's around us at some stage, she'll get inspired and she will
blossom.
And yeah, but it was really good because it kind of helped everybody in the group. But I remember the first day, and we set it up as a breakfast thing, and she was just in tears. And she said she hadn't been in a room and felt so inspired for years.
Mm. And I wonder whether, as a stylist, as someone that's drawn to this profession, it's almost like a sixth sense or an innate skill that you have in yourself and your peers of this industry, being able to see the potential in someone, whether that's from a creative, artistic perspective, or whether that's from, a much more holistic perspective. Yeah. It's why this industry is so much more than clothing and shopping.
Yeah.
Let's change tact. My mum is obsessed with the royal family, and she writes to the Queen for every formal occasion and then frames the replies. So I would be doing her a disservice if I didn't say, please explain every juicy detail about styling the royal family. Commence.
Well, what can I explain?
What was it like? I mean, holy Lord, you know, talk me through the first time you went in to do an appointment, to create an appointment.
Yeah, so I worked with another stylist who had been the fashion director of Tatler, and I worked with her, and I think it wasn't what I expected at all. So you're going to the Royal Lodge and you're going to be meeting princesses. So I had, kind of how I thought everything was going to be. But all I can say is they were just, and I say it, they were so lovely. So lovely, so down to earth, and I wasn't expecting that at all. I've had clients that will be like, I'm not wearing that, and I'm not wearing that.
Lovely.
And I'm like, okay. They were so grateful for the work we did, our time, as though it was a gift, and they didn't take any of it for granted. So I remember going in, so we went to dress Princess Beatrice for, I think it was Chelsea Flower Show, and then Sarah Ferguson rolled out this like leather, we went into the library and she rolled out this leather, it's a diary, but it kind of rolled out across the table. And
like a long ancient scroll?
Yes. And she said, these are the events for the summer. and I'd like you both to style them. Now, we thought we were just going to kind of finish the prep for Chelsea Flower Show. So we weren't expecting that. And we were like, yeah, sure, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, we can do that. I think we can fit that in. Have we got some time? And
we'll do it for you. We'll do it for you, Sarah. We'll do it for you.
I mean, it's a bit tight, but we'll fit you in.
We'll fit you and your scroll in.
Yes. And then, so there were definitely, there were rules that you had to kind of work with in terms of what they could and couldn't wear. Mm-hmm. But also, what I loved was their appreciation for how much work goes into it. Wasn't just that milliner or those accessories or that designer. Everything that we pulled, they were grateful to the designer we pulled. They were just really grateful. And then the other thing was, so for, I think this was Zara's wedding, there was a particular outfit.
Are we on a first name basis with the royal family? Yes, we are.
No, but
Zaz. It was Zaz's wedding. It was
Z.
Zaz.
And there were these dresses that we didn't want them to wear. And we thought, could you just not, how about they're just not packed? Could that be a solution? But they were like, no, because the designer, and we were like, the designer's gone so much trouble, we couldn't possibly not take it, not wear it.
My gosh.
And that made me just think, but if you wear that particular dress, it might not, your kind of status of dressing has now got to the top 10, where it was 100 and something before. If you wear that could bring it down. But there was more, for them, there was more, it was just important not to be disrespectful to whoever's put this together for them than any ridicule that they would get. And I found that really, wow.
Yeah, what an incredible example of gratitude and humility and I guess everything that you imagine in a fairy tale of princesses.
Because it wasn't it wasn't what I expected at all. We'd have lunch there, which we were always taken care of, looked after.
What did you have for lunch? I have to ask. I know it's not relevant for anyone.
I had shepherd's pie. I remember the shepherd's pie was very, very tasty.
Royal shepherd's pie. Okay. Do you know what I think is so interesting? If we take these, these styling clients of yours, let's say, whether it's Beatrice and Eugenie or whomever, and rationally that they could have their pick of any stylist in the country. Yeah. They loved your work so much that you got more and more bookings. And so how does someone balance that knowledge, but then with knowing that, right, I've now got to pivot my business because I'd like to start doing personal styling appointments, let's say virtually, because I've got 2 young children and I'm a single mum and I need to do that. Yeah. What's going on in your mind?
I think there has been a lot of getting people to understand, or potential clients to understand, the value or the need for the service. I think where it's red carpet styling, and there's a need because they're in that industry or they're in the, they're in the limelight, there's a need for that. But then translating that to someone who's, launched out with their own business, for example, and and it's a completely different arena and they're not sure how to navigate that. Trying to show them that there's value in this service and not doing the DIY route, which I think a lot of people do. And that's always been my thing. Okay, well then how do I show that them working with me is valuable, not just now in the short term, but also in the long term, as opposed to them trying to do DIY 3, 4, or 5 times and then still ending up somehow coming back to a stylist. So
and
that's
to be able to communicate the value of working with a stylist outwardly to an audience, to a client, to a potential lead. It does require you to accept your own value, which we know from the awkwardness of me reading out your industry achievements and you being like, I can't say them, you say them.
Yeah.
There's this kind of, I don't know, is dichotomy the word? It's a sort of, listen, I don't want to sound like I'm up myself, but you really need to work with me. It's very hard. And when it comes to marketing and you think, well, okay, I have to market my business because I need to attract, I need to build an audience, nurture them and turn them into clients. I need to communicate the value, but it is uncomfortable for me, and I have my own doubts about my own abilities because I remember the thing, I've remembered the one thing someone said. So it's a real challenge, isn't it? And then when you've got young kids, you're doing it all on your own. So you've only got sort of, 15 minutes at midnight to bloody work on any of this stuff. So has that been a challenge as well, working out how to sort of position yourself and communicate with your audience?
Yeah, I think a huge challenge, and at times it's just left me stuck, almost not doing anything because you're not quite sure where to start. It was all so overwhelming. And so I remember listening to one of your podcasts and thinking, before I listened to it, okay, let me just, I felt, do something for your business.
Yeah.
So I'm driving and my mind was, okay, how many days have gone and I've said I'm going to do something for my business. I'm going to do something towards my business. There's this huge list. It's overwhelming. Do something. And I thought, right, in the car, you're going to do something towards your business. So we're going to listen to this podcast. And I was listening. And the first thing that came to me was, she's asking the questions I want to ask. Because I thought, I'm just going to hear something. Okay. I thought, well, I probably won't get anything that I really want to get, but I'll learn something. So let's listen. Now, before working with you, it was just a mountain, overwhelming, and not knowing where to start at all. And I think there are other things. So for me, recently, a couple of years ago, going through a divorce and then becoming a single mum, that has my work kind of had to take a back seat for a while. And so that has its own knock-on effects of your confidence, et cetera, et cetera. So then it just was a huge, overwhelming thing that you think, but I love doing this, but I was just stuck, completely stuck, not knowing. I knew there was lots to be done, but not knowing, where do I start with it? And what's the most important thing? And I had all this information in my head. And those are some of the things that for me have been priceless, is coming away from a session and going, like it's laid out. It's laid out. I understand it. It makes sense. But I would not have been able to pick any of that out. And a lot of it is done with me just talking, and then you've picked out the nuggets.
Yes.
And then it's like, I can do that. That it's there. It's,
I think that sort of speaks to the value of working with other people that can see your talent. So it's not dissimilar to the club that you created.
Yeah.
When someone is able to look at talk with you and understand what drives you and have a look at what you've done, it's exciting. And so it gives you that kind of, energetic buzz.
Yes.
And then it's just about formatting things into a kind of linear chronological order. But it is a challenge. I think also working for yourself, working on your own and doing so much on your own as a creative with your brain that obviously thrives in, as you said, that energetic environment. Has that been a challenge as well, do you think, working on your own?
Yeah, but there's two things, because at times I used to think, I should have, an assistant or a junior stylist. But then there was this thought of, by the time I've trained somebody and all my clients, every single client I've ever had, really, has always been word of mouth. Even when I've done television, it's how I got into television was, you know, from styling somebody else and they recommended me. So I've always had this thing of I wanted to maintain that reputation that I'd built. And so how do I work with somebody else? And the kind of worry of how would I make sure that we just were still providing a particular service, but then everything's overwhelming. The things that I would remember when I'm working on a project, I would just be like tunneled vision and I'm just working on this project, not putting my head up to kind of make sure I'm generating more leads or generating new clients. I would just get focused and stuck here. And if I'm doing lots of personal clients, then that's one area. And then the kind of corporate side would wane, or I've turned and I'm doing corporate, or I'm just doing television. Then my other personal clients, you know, I needed to check in with them, and that wasn't. So it's hard. And I think the challenge is knowing where to work with others. But I think I just see more benefits of it now. And one of the biggest things I think I've learned is that you have your clients. So there are hundreds of stylists and there are hundreds of clients. All of those clients aren't mine, and it's fine and it's okay.
Yeah.
The clients that are mine will value the type of service and value what I can offer in the whole styling mix. And those are my clients, and it's okay. So another stylist down the road could live 3 doors away from me, but we're still 2 different stylists, and they would have their tribe and I'd have mine.
Exactly. And that's once we realize, I think that entire concept that people will respond to or resonate with who you are or someone else. Yeah. You're all trained relatively similarly in the sense that there's color, there's balance, proportion. The challenge is for all of us who have spent most of our lives hiding certain parts of ourselves or quietening certain parts of ourselves, the unique and different parts as we established a sense of safety, at school. The challenge is to now bring those out again, because they are in fact indicators of who you are. So when you are online creating content, people can work out immediately, that's my vibe, that's my type of person. And that's a real challenge as well, because if you're looking for inspiration online, there's a lot of similar looking content and less people feeling comfortable enough to be vulnerable, because it's also, we've not really, in a professional environment, no one's really explained how to be professional, but also yourself.
Yes. Yeah. There isn't that. So if I think of the things that I like, and just even looking at the people that I follow, or that I consume, when I say consume, that I go to see, have they got a new reel? I consume their content. They're funny. And if I see a stylist who is doing something, but there's something funny in there, I would be there like all day. If it's just, I'm here to teach you why this cut looks like this, I'm not interested.
Yes.
I'm just not.
Yes.
I need something that is a bit sarcastic, makes me laugh. And so then I started thinking recently, I've been thinking, what would my content actually look like? The content that I would enjoy doing, what would it look like? It'd have to be funny, because if it's not, I'll be bored. Like, I don't want to be bored.
Oh, I know. This is a really good example. There's a beauty vlogger who talks about real true crime while she's also doing makeup.
Yes, I've seen her. Yes.
That's a perfect example of pulling in something completely unrelated to your industry that you like, and just really getting to a moment where you go, I actually don't care what anyone thinks. There's going to be people that go, brilliant, tell me about that murder and how to contour a cheek. And then there's going to be people that goes, that's mental. And that's okay. And
that's the thing, that it's okay. It's okay that you don't appeal to everybody, it's okay.
It's okay. What I think happens is the feeling of safety you get when you create some content for the sake of creating content, and you put it out there, and it is so bland, like a very tasteless soup, like a tasteless potato soup, but at least no one's enraged by it. No one writes back and goes, that was shit. Yeah, I don't like you. Or that was wrong. No one says anything because it's bland as that. You go, that's all right. I did my job. I did my content.
Yeah. Tick.
Exactly. And it is scary to go, do you know what? I'm going to actually add a little bit of smoked paprika to this soup, or I'm going to add it. I'm going to go nuts with a little spice, a little truffle oil or something. It's scary to go, I'm just going to pop that in there and see. But it's the only way to start enjoying what you do, because I don't know how much longer we can keep creating feeding this monster of an engine with just crap.
Yeah, it has to be. And that's another sad thing. Well, it's a sad thing that it takes such a while to get to a place where you're like, I'm just going to be me. Like, I'm at a place, I like me. I like who I am. Yeah. So getting to that place, and then I like me, and this is what I'm going to share. I think it's sad that it takes a while. I mean, it's great once you've got there. If you get there, it's great. But I think it's just sad that it takes a while of feeling you have to present a certain way or do something a certain way for everyone.
Do you feel that way when you are looking at a social media platform and you see peers in your industry, whether they're writing content, YouTube, social media posts, emails, whatever? Do you kind of feel that there's a sort of set way of presenting yourself as an image professional online that you need to sort of subscribe to? Yes.
And I think, and that's the thing where I've kind of been toying with in my head of like, I need to be the me. Thinking of the things that interest me, and that really has to come into my content, because then I'll want to do it. But I see that there is a particular format. I'm a bit bored.
The format currently is useful because it's sort of representative of one key pillar or purpose of content, which is we want to explain, because we're in a service industry, we're not in a product industry. We need to be able to prove our expertise, and that's easily done through, let's say, styling videos where you can visually illustrate how creative you are, and that educational content is great. The challenge we have as business owners is that it is not sufficient to move a potential client through the buyer's cycle from I've never heard of you to I must work with you. So it's like your audience, for many people, many stylists, the audience is stuck in that one stage, which is, I get it. You're creative. You know how to style. I'm going to need some more information. I'm going to need like information, like price, returns policy, testimonials, whatever. But I'm also going to need to know things like, for me, like, do you swear? Do you like jokes? Do we have snacks? Like, what are the little clues or signals that other people know about me that the client needs to know about me? Because that's going to tell you whether it's like, do I go with you or do I go with you?
Yeah, or do I go with
So give me two random weird things about you that you would currently omit from an audience, any content.
Okay, so I love dancing, and it's a daily occurrence that happens in this house, me and my girls. It could be in the car, we dance all the time. And I love Afro beats. So that happens daily. And I don't think there are people that don't even know. I think some people that don't even know that I dance around the house all the time. So just dancing. Dance is has always been a huge part of my life, I think. I'm just thinking back to, like, I've always danced, and it happens every day. It's like an oxygen.
So do you play it when you're with a client? Do you try and create?
No.
There's silence, is there?
And so that's the thing.
That sounds really fun.
That's really great. If I was on a shoot, then I might just like sneak some in, because it's kind of, we're in the studio, someone's playing something. Oh, let me put on a tune. So, but, and also UK garage, which is kind of like, it's quite old, but but I would never be, going through someone's wardrobe. It would be quite silent, just because I think that's almost like, I think that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so that's like a side of me that only like my close friends know I'm always dancing, or how much I love music.
I guess the best version of ourselves is the version where we feel completely unfiltered. So you could be doing Afro beats and styling treats.
And then there's snacks. There's always going to be snacks.
Okay. Afro beats, style, and treats. And it could just be you with a snack, some Afro beats, and style and a dress. Some people will get it, some people won't.
People just won't.
That is cool. Yeah. Okay. But you'll find that the people that get it become evangelists for your business, because like in marketing would say it makes something really sticky, makes something really like it's an experience that's completely permeates all the senses, and it's interesting. And the most important part, you're loving it. Yeah. And when I think that we've got to power our businesses on love. Like it sounds like, I know I can hear what that sounds like, but we can't sustain the energy. I can't do lunches, breakfast, school drop-offs, finding clothing, doing plaits in hair, where's the reader, someone fed the dog, now do a full day of work. I can't sustain any of that unless I am having a laugh and loving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and there has to be some, and there's comedy, but that everyone, I don't think there's a particular type of comedy. Starsky and Hutch, Daddy's Home.
Oh my God, that is terrible. What sort of British person are you? I was expecting Ricky Gervais, Julia Davis, Vicky Pepperdine,
Yes, I love The Office.
Okay,
but
good.
The American version of The Office.
You don't.
I do. This
is a betrayal to the brilliant humour of the Brits, because it's so American.
I love The Office. Okay. And then there's something else called People Just Do Nothing. I find that's just hilarious. And I think also what I love about it is the fact that they started off as like a mockumentary, but people actually thought it was real. And then the BBC saw them doing something on YouTube and bought the series. And now they're like, they've won, I think, did they win a BAFTA or something? Yeah.
Oh, that's right up my alley.
Friends who worked in a phone shop and always used to do different accents when they were selling phones. And then
that's exactly my humour.
So yeah.
Okay, see how much fun it is when we think about things we love.
I know.
Now go and write an automated email sequence. Not so fun. Not so fun.
No, but those things have to be done.
They have to be done, but no one said they have to be done the same way. There is no way. Some of the best marketers in the world, some of the most creative people in the world have created their own philosophy, their own approach, their own style, and it will appeal to some people and it won't appeal to some.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's a sort of, I guess you have to draw a line in the sand at some point and say, I can either keep doing what I've been doing or I can sort of start in really enjoying what I do with every fibre of my being and going along with the journey, knowing that as soon as you become a little bit clearer and distinct amongst your peers, it will open the floodgates for people to either like you or not like you.
Or not. Yeah.
It's okay. Thank you so much for your time today, my love.
Thank you.
And for the listeners, you can tune into Afrobeats, Style and Treats on Ozuola's Instagram page from tomorrow.